Menopausal and perimenopausal women, listen up. It's time to take control of your health and comfort, and Winona is here to help. Winona is a telemedicine company for menopause care who believes that your symptoms are real, important, and deserve to be taken seriously. And for many women, this starts with hormone replacement therapy. Winona's HRT is made with plant-based, bioidentical hormones rather than synthetic ones, so it better aligns with your body to offer relief from hot flashes, weight gain, and other uncomfortable symptoms. 80% of women who use Winona find relief within just 90 days. So, what are you waiting for? Get started today. Visit buywinona.com today to start your free visit. With free shipping and the ability to pause or cancel at any time, your path to wellness has zero obligations. Use code SPRING24 at buywinona.com for 25% off your first treatment plan. That's BYWINONA.com for 25% off. Winona. Menopause care made easy. Summer is the season of hot temperatures, outdoor adventures, and refreshing water activities. Summer is also the season of rough on your feet, causing dry, cracked heels and toes. Introducing Babyfoot, the original exfoliation foot peel that contains 16 natural extracts formulated to remove dead skin cells in 3 easy steps. Apply the booties, relax for an hour, then wash your feet. In 14 days, you've got baby smooth skin and your feet have never been softer. Letting dead skin cells build up over time is hazardous to your foot health. Our professional-grade DIY products, like our original exfoliation foot peel, our men's foot peel, or our moisturizing mask, are some of the best foot care products on the market, created with your foot health in mind. Pamper yourself with a spa day from the comfort and convenience of your own home with Babyfoot. If you want a chemical-free, easy-to-use exfoliating process from the company that created the original foot peel, it's time to treat yourself to Babyfoot. Go to babyfoot.com and use the code SUMMERFEET24 and get 20% off your first order with Babyfoot. That's babyfoot.com and use the code SUMMERFEET24.
Hello and welcome to a special episode of Too Stupid to Live, a podcast that reviews romance novels $5 and under. I'm your host, Becky Feldman. I'm back after a quick hiatus, and I am thrilled to be bringing you some more stupid gloriousness. Is it getting hot in here, folks? Yes, it is. One reason there is a ridiculous heat wave happening in California, but another reason that's the exact opposite of horrifying is today's episode is a special TSTL episode called Hot as Hell with TSTL, where I talk with romance writers and other folks who are sexy citizens of a land called Romancelandia. So my guests today are authors Zio Axelrod, Avery Flynn, and Roan Parrish. And if you are fans, you know that these three writers host an awesome podcast that is also on the Frolic Podcast Network, Dear Romance Writer. This is an advice podcast where they use their knowledge of happily ever afters to answer listener questions about love, relationships, crushes, and things that people do in their lives romantically. You know what I mean. I am so glad, though, this podcast exists because, one, I am so tired of people coming up to me with their, just kidding, I don't know, if you do that, which no one has ever done, but if you do, you need a different advice podcast. But here's the thing. I also think this podcast is such a brilliant concept. So get those fans out, folks, because the temperature is rising in here as Dear Romance Writer gets hot as hell with TSTL. Okay, well, Avery, Roan, and Zio, welcome to Too Stupid to Live.
Thank you.
We're so excited to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so excited because first off, when I heard the I've read all of your book. Well, each of you I have read books, but when I heard of this podcast, I'm like, that's a brilliant podcast idea. So do you want to talk about your podcast first, and then we can talk about your careers as writers?
Sure.
Roan was the brilliant brain behind it. So you wanna...
Yeah, Roan, you take it.
Well, I love advice columns, advice podcasts. I've always really found them just, sometimes the advice is terrible, but they're still helpful somehow. So I've always liked them. And right before the pandemic started, I am a huge podcast fan also. And I was like, I want to do an advice podcast, because now that anyone can have a podcast, I want one. And then the pandemic hit, and I was like, the last thing anyone needs is more unqualified people giving advice to anyone. So I shelved it. But I was really disappointed because I wanted to do it. And then fast forward a bit to about a year ago, or a little over a year ago, and Avery
reached out to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, Roan had this idea.
And it was perfect.
Yeah.
We really just
really
wanted
was
something that was like not writing based, since we all do that all day long anyway, and was fun and we got to do together. And I'm really glad that we ended up doing it this way, because I think if I had tried to do it by myself, I would have lasted like 3 episodes, and then the day would have come for me to post an episode. I would have like not seen my calendar reminder, and it would have stopped there. Plus it's way more fun this way. So
totally.
Yeah.
And so how did the 3 of you meet?
Oh gosh.
Oh,
I met Avery.
Okay, so I don't remember meeting Zio. Zio has always just been a part of my life.
I remember
So she has reached that level. And Roan and I met at a writers conference. We had friends in common. It was Robin Covington, wasn't it?
Robin and Scarlett,
Yeah, Robin and Scarlett. Cole, both fabulous authors. And I had just the absolute most fun. We went out to dinner. It was all those things. So, and Zio and I have now reached the point where we can be roommates at conferences.
I've roomed with
like
both
that.
of these guys. They're awesome women.
So
jealous.
yeah.
I'm very jealous. Oh my gosh.
Well, I'm jealous because they actually live in the same city. And
you're both in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm
outside
of
Philly.
DC.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm outside of DC. So they'll talk about, oh yeah, when you brought this one thing over, and I'm like, sad. But yeah.
And then Zio and I met.
We met. I think we met online before we met in person.
Yeah, and I had never been involved in any, I'd never done a reading, I'd never been involved in any RWA stuff. And then Zio invited me to do a reading for the Philly RWA chapter. And that was, I think that was the first time we met in person, right?
Yeah.
And she was so calm and like unaggressive that I didn't know it was Zio, because I was like, I'm looking for the person who's like invited me here. And I think you had an old picture online, or maybe I hadn't seen your picture, but I was like, it's going to be the person who looks like she's in like, oh my gosh, you go here and you go there, and you're Zio, just cool as a cucumber. And so it took me like a double take to be like, oh my God, you're Zio, obviously, what the hell. And then after the thing, we both left to walk outside, and I was going to get the subway, and Zio, we were going to meet someone maybe.
Yeah, somewhere.
We ended up basically like doing that thing where you stand in the middle of the sidewalk at the place where you're going to part, and then just talked for like another 45 minutes.
Yeah, in the cold. It was December. It was cold.
Yeah, and finally we were both like,
so nice to finally meet you. Like shivering.
Hang out someplace that isn't Arctic in the future.
Yeah.
Honestly, I find those meet cutes way more poignant than like a romantic meet, like a friend meet cute,
Oh yeah, it was definitely that.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
So when I first listened to your podcast, I was like, this is gonna, like, I was so excited. But then like as I was listening, my thought was like, oh yeah, life isn't a romance novel. Life is way more complicated.
We've learned that lesson too during the course of this podcast. So
talk to me about that. Like when you just like embarked on this, what was that like to just like go after the happily ever after? You know what I mean? Like a lot of the stuff that you answer is like the epilogue of a romance novel.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah,
I hadn't thought of it that way.
That's a good way. We're gonna steal that line.
Take it. It's mine. Yeah,
it's our new tag,
guys. Yeah.
I think that's part of why I like both romance novels and advice shows, podcasts, columns, is that like really, although we think like romance as a genre obviously is romance as a genre, but when we think of romance in our lives, it's like that is something like connection, love, admiration is something that a lot of people are looking for. And I think that part of what people try to get through asking other people for advice is they're trying to get like a fast track to their own happily ever after, not romantically necessarily, but like, okay, here's this friction that I'm experiencing in my life. friction at work, friction with my parents, friction with a partner, friction with myself, you know, and what they want is to find someone who's been through what they've been through or has read a bunch of books about it or written them, or even just people who have like a different outside perspective, and see if that person can come in and give them advice that's like sandpaper to kind of like smooth out that friction that they're having so that they can glide more easily toward a happily ever after in that scenario. And so to me, that like giving advice and writing romance is super linked, even though of course the real life stuff is a bit more complicated. I mean, not more complicated. One hopes your characters are as complicated as people, but a little bit less like we don't get to decide whose point of view the story is being told from in real life.
In that.
Yeah, that's true. And
Well,
some
and
people
I
I
think
think
the
are
other-
looking for.
Oh, go
ahead, Avery. Go ahead.
No, Zio, go first.
I was just going to say, I think the other thing is that sometimes people are looking for validation for how the actions that they want to take.
Yeah.
You know, they might not have that person, that yes, honey person that's like, yes, that's the right thing to do. Go do it. So they write in and say, am I right in doing this? I need someone to say, sort of push me in that direction.
Right.
So sometimes we can be that.
Well, and I like to also think about the fact that, you know, none of us are trained, right? We have the funny tagline of questionable advice, but you know, it's like, I like to think of the show as you're that girl in the bathroom at the bar. And you know how like all the rest of the girls come together and share, you know, the thoughts, oh my God, don't go back out to him, you know, or we'll all spill our drink on him when we walk by, you know, whatever it may be. It is that sort of communal advice.
Yeah.
I think that we give that has a little bit different perspective, and God knows we spend our way too much of our waking lives neck deep in the ideas of what motivates people to do certain things. So
Sure.
yeah,
it's so funny you say that, because like, just, you know, a lot of like the advice you give, like for me, it seems like it all comes down to self-love and like caring for yourself, you know? And I think that's a thing you like, whenever you're like drunk in a bar with your girlfriends, it's always like, you're important, you know?
You are enough. Yes, absolutely.
And I think what's wild about that is like, when you think how often the answer to the questions is self-love, you realize that like it's almost always the answer. It's almost always the first step in any answer that we're going to give, and it's almost always the root of the problem in the first place.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that over and over and over we tell people the same things, and they are communicate, know yourself and love yourself. And like, it's as someone who has not always been fantastic at any of those three things at my life, and I think I'm better at them now. It is just, sorry, I didn't mean to swear. Can we swear on your podcast?
Oh, you can fucking say whatever the fuck.
Well, gosh darn it. It's absolutely, it blows my mind that like we know what the answers always are, and yet somehow we still have problems, and it's because we like don't honor those tenets. And I feel like if I could actually impart those three pieces of wisdom to people, and they're certainly not my wisdom, obviously, but like if people could actually do those things, their lives would be made so much better. I feel like
that's what I mean about permission. Like sometimes people just want permission to be selfish, or what they perceive as being selfish, which is self-care. Right. Because anything that has the word self in it is, oh no, I can't do that. I'm supposed to be completely altruistic and a martyr for love or whatever. And it's like, you gotta take care of yourself first. And I think just hearing that from strangers or friends or whoever, you know, might give somebody a little push to do something that they know they already need to do.
Yeah.
You know, if it's talking to a therapist or taking some time for themselves or not rushing into another relationship or whatever it is, sometimes they just need that permission.
Well, and I think the other fun thing is the fact that, you know, whether it's a letter that is sent to us, whether it's something we find that we end up talking about, whatever it is, even though the question may be very specific to one situation, a lot of times it's universal. There is so much, you know, everybody has to deal with somebody who can't respect boundaries, right? In some way or another, for an example. So being able to find that universal, I think, is also something. And I think that's really fun because we all come from very different perspectives, very different backgrounds. And so that kind of helps to give, I think, with the show a little bit of variety. And you know, sometimes we disagree, sometimes we agree. And you know, that's part of it, that's part of life too. But yeah, it definitely comes down to, I think we barely go an episode without saying in one form or another, you know, give yourself grace.
Yes.
You know? So
yeah. It's so funny you say that, because like, you know, like hearing you guys talk, like I was just, you know, last night was finishing up a book and I'm just like, I was just like to the characters as a reader thinking those things, you know what I mean?
Well, they're so hard. Nobody is ever as hard on you as you on yourself.
Yeah.
Right. You know, it's like that whole, I was actually having a conversation with my son as we were driving. So my husband and my middle child are both silent sitters, right?
Okay.
You'll drive somewhere, they're perfectly happy not to say a word. Not a single solitary word. I have never lived a quiet moment in my entire life. So my youngest and I are like the whole way to the Lego store today. And it's funny because, you know, that is, I told him, I was like, sometimes I have to remind myself that just because they're quiet doesn't mean they're mad at me. And like, you know, so it's that awareness and trying to build awareness.
Oh yeah, I'm the same way. Whenever there's like a second of silence, it feels like it's like 10 minutes long and I'm like, should I be talking? I don't know. You mentioned, you know, talking about when you guys disagree, and I think it's so engaging when that happens. Like I love that honesty and that rawness the three of you give. At first, when you were, I don't want to say butting heads, but when you just like provided like your own perspective and like you're really like, I disagree with you, and I find that very refreshing in terms of your friendship. But like, what was that like, you know, when it first happened, when you're like, oh my gosh, I am not going to agree with what you're saying, but I still love you.
I don't let these guys take it because they butt heads more than I do. I'm in Switzerland.
Siblings.
I ask the tough questions. Yeah.
It's true. No, it's always me and Avery. I have to say, I feel great about it.
Yeah.
I think that one thing that is so true is that I think people who are socialized as women, especially people who are socialized as white women, are taught that disagreement is dangerous, and that someone having a difference of opinion or saying straight out, like, I disagree with you, I have different beliefs, that is somehow a challenge that you should feel uncomfortable. Like it creates a circumstance of discomfort. And it leads to what is one of the biggest problems among especially people socialized as white women, which is like this sense that you're like inviolate, you cannot be challenged or you'll fall to pieces. And I think that is one of the absolute most dangerous and weaponized pieces of white supremacy that happens right now. And so I say that because I've been part of it. Like it does at first feel really uncomfortable for me to disagree with a friend. I have those feelings in my body. I have that feeling of like, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. But I've trained myself over many years of disagreeing with people, partly because I used to be in academia and that's like your literal job. But I trained myself to like ignore the feelings in my body and be like, this is awesome, because any disagreement is a chance to understand someone better and to understand your own position better. Because sometimes when Avery and I disagree, or I disagree with someone else, what happens is I come to clarify my own position because someone disagrees with me. They're like, what? No, it's not like X, Y, or Z. And I have to think like, oh, that's not what I meant, but that's what they got from what I meant. So let me look at what I said and like pull out the piece that could have given them that idea. And then I get to reformulate and be like, actually, thank you. We still disagree, but I actually disagree even more now, just in this nuance, or slightly less now, or whatever. But I think like, I think disagreement is a political project that results in human beings who are more resilient and more able to understand that our thoughts and feelings are not dangerous when they are challenged. So I take it as like, I know this sounds so sappy and like woo, but I take it as an honest to God gift when someone disagrees with me respectfully in in this kind of a context, not just for no reason or for the sake of being devil's advocate, you know, like throw laugh here. But like, yeah, so when Avery disagrees with me, I say, like, in my head, I have the feeling of like, awesome, let's figure this shit out. And that's like the most exciting way to think of it for me. And then I always feel like I come to know her position a little better, or whoever's position a little better. And I always feel like I come to know my own a little better. And if I leave being like, that person's wrong about X, Y, or Z, it's like, cool. That is a neutral circumstance, unless it's about a thing that I'm like, ooh, that's a friendship ender, you know, because we just are coming from like such different, like, you believe that all blondes should be slaughtered, and I don't believe that, you know, like
that's a disagreement. Yeah.
You know what? You're so particular about things.
It's funny because it's like, in a way, like your dynamic is like kind of also like, yes, you're you know, you give relationship and romantic advice, but like the way your dynamic is, it's also like showing like how friendships can be. You can, you know, run into obstacles, differences of opinions, but then it ends up making your bond stronger.
Yeah. And I think, well, I love Roan's answer, and it sounds so smart. So I'm going to dial the intelligence level down about 4,500.
This is called Too Stupid to Live. You're fine.
Yeah. By the way, I had a really good time on the way to the Lego store, also explaining what that means. But so I'm a Virgo. I have, and the youngest child, so I have never had a problem disagreeing with anybody in my entire life. So that has never been an issue for me. But I think what helps, I think, is the fact that, number one, Roan and I know each other outside of this and have conversations outside of the show. But I think the biggest thing is, and I had to go look it up on Twitter, which I'm addicted to, because this pretty much sums it up exactly. So there's this person, and they have as their pinned post, stop pretending bad faith is good faith for the purposes of politeness or dialogue. And I have never, ever, when it comes to Zio or Roan or anything, ever thought that this is in bad faith, that they're just doing this to poke, that they're just doing, you know, we're only disagreeing because of, you know, devil's advocate or whatever it may be. And I think that's important. And I think friends disagree. I think people in any kind of intimate relationship disagree on things, and that's part of it. And it's being able to see the other side of what somebody says. And I would say 9 out of 10 times it literally is Roan comes back and clarifies, and I fix what I interpreted in my brain. You know, silence does not equal somebody being mad at me, right? So I fixed that part in my head, and we're solid again. And at 1 out of 10 we're still like, no.
Yeah, that's great.
And that's okay, because it's not about killing blondes. Right. So we're okay with that.
Yeah.
And I was raised to be a diplomat. So I tend to just sort of
no shocker here.
Not neutral, but just you said shocker.
You are very diplomatic. I think you really are.
Like a peacemaker in a way, kind of.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I also
or my father says that I can deliver a killer blow, but it's like having a brick wrapped in a velvet glove.
Yes.
I love that.
Number one,
I was like, wait, is that a good thing?
No, I do, because
that's a talent.
Yeah, I'm like, all I am is polite. Like I've never said more times I completely I completely agree 100%, just again and again, because you want to be polite, but like having like just like giving your opinion, but like wrapping it in velvet, if you will. In a nice classy,
the smear of my opinion on it. Here you go.
Exactly. Yeah. Here's a glove you can keep, but in like
But I love when we have guests that have
innate talent too. You know, you can't learn that. If you could, I would have at least tried by now. I'm just the brick. So yeah, I love that about you.
You know,
I'll take that. I'll take that.
You're also very generous, and I feel like it's important to acknowledge that for me, you're not being diplomatic for the sake of only making peace or trying to reconcile. You are generously understanding both people and both arguments, and you can see you doing all this work in your head of like, oh this part, where do I stand, where do they come together, where do they, and so you can see the machinations going on, and sometimes you decide that you want to like explain us to each other or like make your own point, and sometimes
I'm the translator.
Sometimes I can see you being,
and sometimes you can
on.
really see going, this shit is not worth my time.
Which I also
wait. I mean, I try to keep a neutral face when I'm thinking that. But I love when we have guests on who are kind of like. Sometimes we have guests who are really engaged, or we'll have a letter that like really like falls in their wheelhouse. And it's like, oh my god, I had no idea. Like R.L. Merrill, we had R.L. Merrill on once, and it was like, you know, she had like a background in the issue that we were talking about. I had no idea, and it was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. But you can see them sometimes watching the tennis ball. Like, where do I jump in? You know, we're like, come on, just say what you want to say.
You Avery read a tweet, and I'm like thinking like, I spend a lot of time on romance Twitter, and sometimes like I feel like what you're saying could maybe also apply to social media. This is like the most blatant basic sentence I've ever said, but like, how, like, are you guys on social media? Like, how do you, like, what's your thought in terms of like resolving conflict? Because I think things can get blown way out of proportion.
Yeah, I feel like Twitter has created infinity conflicts and probably never resolved a single one. But I don't think that's, I think that's a feature, not a bug though. Like, I think one of the things about having a platform that is like so democratized, not completely, but like so democratized, so much where every account can talk to every other account, is you're just like only ever going to get more and more granular, more and more nuanced, or more and more general, less and less specific, to the point where like nothing can ever be reconciled, because there can always be that one person who like stirs the pot. You know, that person who retweets something from like 7 months ago, and it just like
or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And TikTok seems to be following suit.
How are you guys thought? Because I can't do TikTok because I won't like get out of bed. Like it's literally too addictive for me. How are you feeling about like book talk right now, and like how romance novels are being just this like, you know, advertised or talked about on TikTok right now?
I think there's a unique audience on TikTok. I think just at least what comes across my feed with the book talk. And I will tell you, I've curated my feed a lot, so it's very minimal book talk, and for some reason a lot of cows lately. That's great. And the English lady who gets dressed every day, so I love her. Oh my god, I love her. I love Sammy so much. I love you, Sammy. But I think TikTok is you know, it's people who are coming in more fresh, right? I can't speak for Roan or Zio, but when I started off as a romance author, everything was like, oh my god, can you believe they said that romance doesn't have to have a happily ever after? Have you ever heard of something so extreme? I am so angry, right? And now you're like, oh, it's been 3 months. Okay, it's time. It's time for that to come across, right? Sure. We are more jaded, I think, in a way than a lot of the folks on Book Talk. A lot of my Book Talk folks that I follow also read a more focused on dark romance, at least on my For You page. What I love is everybody's is different. Is, you know, there's a lot more dark romance. So I'm actually exposed to, because I, you know, hi, I'm all in pink, don't tend to read a lot of dark romance, so it kind of opens me up to something, and I'll give it a try. It's still not my thing, but I will give it a try now, just because I'll hear people talk about it. But I think it's at least on my Book Talk For You page, is that it is more of it's just, they're fresher to the genre than I think a lot of other stuff was, and I think that's just because they skew younger. I will right now give a shout out though to Mariah Ankerman, who does Book Talk, and I think does it so well. She's just a flippin' delight as a writer on Book Talk.
Katie Robert is another one. Tessa Bailey.
Tessa's are hilarious.
Tessa's hilarious. God. She interviews characters or does like interviews for it's just she's
I think it's really fun.
Yeah.
I love TikTok, and I, like you, find it incredibly addictive. And I can scroll, like I can feel in my body that I cannot stop. But I love it. But I don't actually like book talk very much. Not because I don't like the content, obviously I do, but because it's like the way I'm I'm not really good at using TikTok yet as a creator. I really only use it as a consumer mostly. And so because romance books are what I think about all day long, when I go to TikTok, it's like not anything that I'm interested in at all. So I almost,
it's like a little brain break.
I almost never look at romance. I mean, I follow a lot of authors because I want to and I like them, but I almost never end up looking at my like the accounts I'm following, and I like TikTok for other things.
Me too.
Which I want to find a way to use it as a creator that can bridge the gap for me, because I would love to be a little bit more involved in book talk stuff, but I haven't figured it out yet. So if anyone has any tips for me, as long as they're not consistent. I know that the easiest way is consistency. Unfortunately, like as a Pisces and also an imp, I cannot be consistent about anything, because freedom is the one thing that makes my life worth living. So if you have any tips for me, any tips about how to like do TikTok?
Are you a pantser too, on top of all of this? Oh my God, I didn't know that about you.
I'm
so horrified.
I'm like a plantser.
I'm a plantser. All right.
Wait, what's
a
okay.
Like panther hybrid.
Okay, got it. I love how you guys like are just like, this is my astrological sign. Deal with it.
I just think it sounds funnier than saying like, I am the kind of person who, which is really what you're saying when you say I am a Pisces.
Shorthand.
I know. I should really be shorthand. Yeah, I should be like, I'm emotional. I'm an Aquarius. I have no idea if an Aquarius does that, but I'm just assuming that
I'm an Aquarius, and so yes.
Happy recent or upcoming birthday.
Thank you.
Recent birthday. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So you mentioned earlier about dark romance, and what is dark romance? Is that like mafia romance, or?
It can be. I think dark romance tends to have more taboo, quote unquote taboo themes.
Okay.
So there might be some murder involved, or
kidnapping,
or
light murder,
things that a little light murder.
No, it's like heavy murder. I think there's definitely taboo stuff. It's definitely anti-hero stuff. It's definitely a at least for me, in the limited amount that I have read, tends to also be whereas I think we're kind of used to seeing like lead characters, main characters who have a lot of agency, even if they just haven't realized it yet. In dark romance, there seems to be like at least one of the lead characters is learning to release some of that agency and find agency in the release of agency. So it's also it's psychologically very interesting. It's like The Shield, to go back to an old TV show. Okay. I would consider like if you had a romance within that TV show, that could be considered a dark romance, I would think, just because of the anti-heroes and the murder for you, and then we're gonna go do these crimes, and that's kind of where I'd go.
When someone asks you a question or like you get a letter and you're like, this kind of reminds me of this dark romance, like, does that ever happen? Or you're like, I remember when someone murdered someone. Not that you're a murderer, whoever wrote in, but
God, I wish we got questions like that.
Oh man, you guys would be so helpful.
We'd be like, we have researched all the ways to dispose of the body. So you're fine. You've come to the right place.
So I want to talk to you guys about like your writing careers now. And Avery, I'd be so remiss if I didn't tell you that I live out in Los Angeles. I'm tend to go out for more comedic roles in terms of acting, in terms of maybe using the idea of Butterface. So I read Butterface, and that book meant a lot to me, as well as I know a lot of my comedic friends when we're going in for not the pretty girl.
Yeah.
So how did you so you do have that series where, you know, you have Butterface and the other two books. Like, how did you how did you come up with that idea?
Well, I got yelled at by my editor a lot.
Sure.
So as happens frequently, I love you, Liz. She's what really wanted me to, she gets bored when I write heroines, for the most part, who don't have a lot of issues, and I'm like, well, all of their issues are mental. They're all crazy, okay? So she really wanted somebody that was not as physically perfect as often happens in Romancelandia books, is what I would say. And I actually loved writing that book. I love Gina so much. She's the heroine in Butterface, and I think that for me, I love the fact that she was such a strong character. Even I love the idea of her being somebody different than what people assumed she was, simply based on how she looks. And I think a lot of people go through that, no matter kind of where you are at. I got a lot of reader feedback from folks who said basically exactly what you said about how, you know, this, you know, I felt seen. What was interesting to me is I probably got an equal amount of reader feedback and reviews, and it was all, this is ridiculous. People aren't actually like this. Nobody would say that about somebody else behind their back. And I'm like, have you ever read the comments section in anything dealing with a woman? Of course they would. So yeah, but I loved that book. The Hardigans are a huge favorite within my readers, and they're, you know, just a completely chaotic, over the top family that I adore writing.
So great. And Roan, you wrote Natural Enemies, which I read and really enjoyed. And so wait, first of all, like the amount of like botany stuff in there, I was like, oh my God, are you like a secret botanist? Like what?
You know, it's funny. Everyone always says that. I am really into botany, but I wasn't when I wrote that book. And it was writing the book and doing research for it was one of the things that propelled me from just like casual plant lover to obsessive freak. So it's a piece of my journey.
We now know what happened to you.
That's what happened. That's what happened is I was living in a 1-bedroom, 3rd floor walk-up back apartment that had tiny, tiny windows. And I suddenly got into plants, and I would go to the Lowe's and the garden store and stuff. And I would like fill my pockets with little fallen bits of plants and succulents. And I would like sprout them on my windowsill. And that was how it started.
That's so great. Yeah, because I love in the book there's
your
this like
gateway drug.
There's this like almost like this West Side Story-esque thing of like, you know, planting for the love of plants versus the scientific study of plants. And it's like, of course that would exist. And I never even would think of it.
Wow, that's a great way to put that.
I love that.
Yeah, that is a really good way to put that. And I think I love hobbies. I am a super like hobby driven person. I love to know the stuff that other people are obsessed with, even when they're not my hobbies. So like I would happily sit and listen to someone tell me about one of their weird hobbies.
Oh, I can attest to that.
Detail. I find it fascinating. And I really, really love reading books where I get to feel like I'm kind of like dropped right in the middle of someone's obsession, whether it's a profession or a art project or just like a thing they're really knowledgeable about. And so I wanted to write this one about plants. And I just loved the idea that I could write an enemies to lovers book that was really, really soft, where what they were being enemies about was like what their philosophy of plants was, and that they would, of course, like become lovers quickly enough that I wouldn't have to sustain the enemies to lovers for that long. Because the horrible truth is, although I do enjoy enemies to lovers books sometimes, I cannot write them to save my life because I do not have the hate sex gene or whatever it is. Like I don't have it. When I don't like someone, I find them repellent. Like, it doesn't matter if I can like intellectually say, oh yeah, that's a beautiful person. They are repellent to me. So I would never want to have sex with someone I hated. I get that, like, it's super hot to read and I get why people do it, but it's not a thing that I have the capacity for, because when I hate someone, I want them to like literally get the fuck away from me in every way. But because I know it's such a popular trope, and I was like, I wrote that for an anthology originally. I was like, enemies to lovers, can do, okay. Enemies about plants for 2 chapters. All right, nailed it. Moving on.
And it's like so interesting because like in any sort of like enemies to lovers world that I read, like no matter what world they're in, whether it's plants or, you know, graphic design or whatever, these dentistry, like it's like, oh, this world is high stakes and you would never.
I know, and I love it. I love the way that people, like, while they're in their own thing, they actually think it's high stakes. But when you describe it from the outside world, even if something like corporate espionage or something that like you're like billions of dollars and blah, blah, blah. And then if like we were to redescribe it for an enemies to lovers book, we'd be like, so one guy got mad and is like trying to take over someone else's company. Wow, make it played. Okay. Like, it just all sounds so frivolous.
Yeah, it's like, really don't judge a log line by its words, you know? If that makes any sense at all. Zio, so you wrote the Callum, right? Am I saying that correctly? Callum?
Yeah.
So when I first started it, I was just like, is this your love letter to romance, or did you come up with like the story before realizing, you know, making it this like love letter to like Scottish romance?
Well, it was my first book, and I've been a fan of the Diana Gabaldon Outlander series since, you know, the first book came out. And they had just announced that the series was going to be done on Stars. And so everyone was starting to get into it. We were all into the casting and everything. And I had written another manuscript, but it was a hot mess. And I didn't know what to do with it. So I was like, well, if I want to publish something, I have to write something new. So I was like, what if I write someone who's like obsessed with a Jamie, you know, character and goes to Scotland to find this Jamie, but that's not the main character. Her best friend is the main character. So I just wrote, so it's like a love letter to Outlander. And actually it was originally called The Jamie or something, or Searching for Jamie or something like that. And I sent an email to Diana Gabaldon, like asking if I could use, you know, the name and stuff like that. And I, of course, never heard anything back because so I was like, I panicked and changed the title and everything.
Yeah, she's probably a little busy. It's so
she was
interesting.
A little busy.
Yeah. Because like there was a while before this pandemic where I like was like, is there an Outlander tour of Scotland? Like, you know what I mean? Like an Outlander, not branded, but like it's like here.
There is.
Oh yeah.
There is. Yeah. I'm going to a signing in May. And my husband is coming with me, fingers crossed. And so I've been looking at different things to do.
Oh yeah. So, it seems like so much fun. And it's like everything like, oh, that's so cool.
Pretty awesome.
There's a lot of Easter eggs, Outlander Easter eggs in that book.
Oh yeah. So I want to know like what's next in terms of your next books coming out, like for the three of you, what's coming up in the pipeline, as they say. I don't know if they say that, but
we'll say it. We'll make it a saying.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. We'll be like Becky says.
Like Becky says.
Yes, thank you. This makes me feel, thank you. I feel seen and heard and important. Thank you.
There you go. You are enough. We are your drunk new best friends in the bathroom.
Oh, that's all I need. That's all I need.
Well, my next book doesn't come out for a while. It doesn't come out till September, but it's my first ever rom-com, so I'm pretty excited about that. It is called The Holiday Trap, and it's basically, while I was writing it, I kept calling it The Holiday because it's basically like that movie, the Nancy Meyers movie, The Holiday, but super gay. So it's a double romance, so it's 2 different couples. And one character is Greta, and she lives on this little island in Maine where like everyone knows each other, with a super big, close family, tight-knit family. And our other character, Truman, lives in New Orleans. And both of them, so Greta's has like family-ish, and Truman finds out that his boyfriend of a year actually is married and has a whole other family. And so both of them want to get out of their respective spots because Truman is mortified. I know, right? And Greta just needs to get away. So they have a mutual friend who basically is like, oh my gosh, you should house swap. And they, of course, are like, that's ridiculous. Nobody does that anymore, but they do. So Greta goes to New Orleans, Truman goes to Maine, and both of them fall in love with someone there. So Greta falls in love with this grad student, Karis, and Truman falls in love with a florist named Ash. And both of them sort of like get enmeshed in the communities in those new spots. And it's about two people on kind of like parallel journeys. Both of them need to learn to like put yourself in a context where you thrive, and then life will be better, turns out.
Much like what the advice you give in the podcast, it all comes
It all comes down to it.
Was it hard for you to write like 2 stories at once? You know what I mean? Because it is like 2 romance novels. Oh, yeah, that's great.
Well, and I started out writing it because it alternates between the 2 stories, not every chapter, but like in clumps.
Yeah.
And I started out writing it in order, and it was so hard because I was like, I can't tell if the pacing is working because there's interruptions. And then finally I was like, you stupid idiot, just write one of them through and then write the other one through, because it is 2 books and then you can intertwine them. So once I figured out that like super should have been obvious to me piece of craft, deep craft, and it actually wasn't hard at all. And it was cool because it almost felt like anytime I got a little bit hung up on one, I could go and I could be like, okay, what would Greta be doing now in the timeline? And then I could like make one of them text the other, and it would just like get me out of a little thing. Anyway, I really liked it because I'm definitely a one project at a timer. So I like to, I don't work on multiple books at once. I hate when I'm writing something and I have to take a break to edit something else. I really like to focus on one thing at a time, which is totally impossible in publishing. But for this, it was nice because I got the benefit of focusing on one thing at a time, but it felt like 2 things. Yeah. So it was like revitalized my poor little brain.
Oh, that's great.
I have a question as a reader about this.
Yeah.
Okay. So as a reader, am I going to be like, are there going to be like little chapter headers or something? So if I just want to like, I'm so into Greta's story and I just can't stand it, I can go through and just read Greta.
Okay.
Or is there like going to be a color, or how can I cheat?
Wow.
This is what I want to know. How can I cheat?
What's the cheat sheet?
You are chaos. And that literally never occurred to me that any human mind would. No, I'm just kidding. You know, I don't know. That is such a great question. I will go and look at it and see. You definitely could read them through and through to a certain point. Yeah. Okay, Avery, you've given me a great idea, which is
I'm sorry. I'm just that person.
No, it's great. For other chaos angels like yourself, I should make a little graphic that's like, read, like if you want to read the things separately but not get spoiled by reading something about the other thing,
because I would be so sad.
1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 9, 10, 11, 14. You know, I should do it so that I can make it, because then they come back together at the end. So
it's like, if you want this book to be a choose your own adventure, it can be.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Magic
it's all about me.
That's
How
so
can I read this?
This is why I say it's so cool. It literally never occurred to me that someone would want to do that, but obviously someone does. And if one person does, then 100 people probably do. And now I know a whole group of people who might want to read in a way that I hadn't anticipated. And that's why people not always agreeing is great. I mean, that wasn't
there you go. I like how you brought that full circle. Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Yeah.
It's all about diplomacy. I love it. Zio, what's next for you?
Well, my next release is coming this summer, and it's a follow-up to a novella I wrote called A Fast Forward. It was my first romance that I released, so this is the follow-up to that, and it's a Norwegian rock star turned music professor who is pursuing a professor that he broke his heart before he went on the road and stuff. So, you know, there's a lot of angst in this book, which I don't usually write a lot of angst, but there's some angst in there. Everyone's like, yes, finally.
It's like feed it.
Yeah. Talk about hate sex. There's some hate sex in this book.
And so you have a musical background, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I grew up in the music industry. So, and it took a bit though for me to get to the point where I was writing music into my books. Like I did the first book and then the Callum and like a hockey romance and something. And then finally people were like, where's like the music character? Like, where's that? And I was like, oh yeah, I guess I should do that. So yeah. So because my last release was the first in a 4-book series about an all-female rock band, The Girl with Stars in Her Eyes. And so that has given me the opportunity to really explore my background and sort of like live vicariously through these women and, you know, fulfill my rock and roll dreams and stuff like that. But that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Cause like everyone's like, well, write what you know, and like, like I get, I guess I could do that. Maybe. Yeah.
So I'm talking about juggling projects. This is the second one. I'm still revising that. I've got that one. When does the second one come out? I have no idea because I'm still working.
We have needs, Theo.
I know. Thank you, pandemic and world wars and everything else. But like I'm juggling 3 manuscripts right now. And Rowan is shaking her head because I've got that. I've got Rewind, which is coming out in June, and then also my first book with Blue Box Press, which comes out in November, which is like a sort of a retelling of Cyrano de Bergerac.
Oh, cool.
In a rom-com. So yeah.
I find that so impressive. That's like a brain power that is,
it's definitely working my brain muscles because I'm not used to juggling that many projects. I can do 2, but I've never done 3. So this is, we'll see how they turn out. We'll see.
Yeah, because you like have a life to function in outside of work. So
I'm trying to write music for the Lilies too, and trying to figure out when we can get into the studio to record it because I record the music for the book. So yeah, there's a lot
that's so cool. Is there any like similarities to writing music and writing a book?
It's all frustrating. No,
sure. Makes sense.
Well, I mean,
I like that.
I think storytelling can take a lot of forms, and I never, when I was writing, as a songwriter, back when I wrote Buffy fanfic, because that's how I really got started.
Yeah, love it.
One of my fellow fanfic authors was like, I need poetry for this thing I'm working on. Can you write me some poetry? And I was like, I don't write poetry. I'm a songwriter. She was like, duh. And I was like, oh yeah, that doesn't make any sense. So it was like sort of a natural progression. It was like, oh, I don't write long form prose. And then you could, it's just storytelling, just extrapolate. So there is that. But I was talking to my dad about this not too long ago because he's fascinated with the whole process of writing a book, as a songwriter, because he's a songwriter. And he's like, and I'm like, yeah, it's like you write a song, sometimes it's finished in 5 minutes, sometimes you have to keep going back to it. It's like it's the same thing with these books. Like sometimes the idea comes to you and you're like, yes, and you just, as a plantser, sit down and like write it all out, and it's like then you go back and edit, and sometimes it's like pulling teeth. Like you get 50 words or whatever. And so that's pretty similar there. But
totally. And Avery, what's next in the Becky trademarked pipeline for you?
Yes, in the Becky trademark pipeline. I'm not sure when this airs, but end of March, I've got Mansplainer is coming out. That's the last book in the Last Man Standing trilogy. Anybody out there who's been reading it, Mama's Boy Neanderthal, Mansplainer is the last one. And yes, you will finally find out what is in the present that Grandma Betty left when she died. So, and no one in my reader group has guessed correctly yet when I've asked them. So there you go. I feel kind of good about that. So I've got that. In August, I have an audio first coming out. It's called Anger Bang. And believe it or not, it is not an enemies to lovers story, but it is still called Anger Bang.
Great.
The cover
is hilarious. I laughed so hard when they showed me the cover with the little dinosaur in a dress. Yes, in a dress. And then I have my first paranormal rom-com coming out at the end of the year called What You Gonna Do. So
like
lots of stuff. Yeah, like a witch. Yeah, I'm a girl that loves a pun like nobody's business. It's very sad.
No,
it's very sad.
But like that's how I love, like I feel like pun titles are like the thing right now, and that's how you're like getting readers.
Yeah. I will tell you, they made me take the word naked out of the blurb in that, and I feel bad for whoever's gonna pick it up now. But yeah, surprise.
Yeah. Oh, they'll be thrilled because it's like,
yeah,
that's how I got into romance, is that I picked up this like book that I thought was like, oh, because I was into Buffy at the time, this was years ago. And because I know so many people are like, oh, I started reading romance because of my mom, or, I know someone, I saw these books. But for me, I was at the airport, I saw this book about a vampire hunter, and I was like, great. But then all of a sudden there's sex in it. And then it was just.
Was it Anita Blake?
And then it was. Yeah,
it might have been. Yeah.
Man, I binged my way through those books so hard. I came in so late to that series.
Yeah.
And
it's still going, isn't it?
It is still going, I think.
It's like book 39 or something like that. Yeah, it's still going.
Because this was over 10 years ago for me when I
think I tapped out at like book 9 or 10. And the last time I remember seeing one release, it was like book 17.
Yeah.
And that was some years ago. So
yeah. There you go. It gets us. Romance gets us all.
Would that be considered dark romance?
I don't think so.
I don't think it's dark enough.
No.
There's a lot not dark enough for dark romance.
Maybe
I don't think so. Because there's it doesn't have the angst level, I think, of a dark romance. And it doesn't.
There's murder and all kinds
Girl,
of.
you have never read dark romance, have you?
I have.
It's
You're right.
taboo,
You're right.
Disturbing stuff.
You're right.
So
You're
yeah.
right.
It seems like the term dark romance is, and also like dirty romance, is all so subjective.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like trying to explain what is spice. What is spicy? What's a spicy book? And there's 1,000 definitions.
It's so funny
Everybody's
because
different.
Book Talk talks about spice a lot, and they do recs for each other, and they'll, those videos where reader will be like, Book Talk made me buy it, or Book Talk made me read it, and they'll get angry. And this one person, I don't remember who it was, but this one person was mad because Spicy Book Talk recommended this book by an author who is very spicy, and it wasn't spicy enough for her, or she didn't think it was spicy at all. And I was like, if that's not spicy enough for you, like, what are you reading? Like, to give me a rec, because I really want to know.
Yeah, I need to know. Well, it's interesting because some people are like, it's only spicy if it's not vanilla. It could be vanilla sex every third page, and it wouldn't count because it's vanilla.
Yeah.
So it's there,
vanilla,
and I don't
is
think
literally a spice.
And this is why we love Roan.
Yes. That makes me, I have to tell a lot of people that, because like I feel like when people are like, I'm only into vanilla stuff, does that make me prude or whatever? And it's like, no, vanilla is a spice. I'm using it. I am using that.
There you go.
It's reciprocal. You gave us something.
Yeah,
we gave
you gave us pipeline, and now you've got
it's so great. Yeah, it's so funny because I was talking to someone who's a romance reader, and she was recommending a book, and she's like, it gets naughty. And I read it, and I was like, this is naughty. I feel like, oh my God. Like, what are the things that I have read before? Like, I don't even want to bring it up.
You know what?
I also feel like anyone who would use the word naughty, I would never believe that it would actually be super hot, because naughty is like what 3-year-olds do. And we're
you know what, that might be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you might be onto something.
Yeah, naughty is a word that you also like when your dog is like chewing up something, and you're like, you're being naughty, and then it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's like your dog chewing something, or Santa making a list, and I'm talking about fucking. So
that is so true. Yeah.
But out there somewhere is the world's spiciest erotic romance dealing with Santa's naughty list.
Oh yeah.
And it's out there.
Oh yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah, I've read it and reviewed it. I have a friend who I can always rely on to read the craziest erotic stuff, including a Santa romance, which made us both uncomfortable.
Everyone needs that friend. Everyone needs that friend.
Employ your friend if you think of it, to pass this along. I am searching for something, and I took it to Twitter, and no one had anything for me. I seek super hot, good quality Killing Eve fanfic.
I love that all of us are like, yes.
I know a couple of people who write Killing Eve fanfic.
Great. And I'm talking like, I want that shit to be hot, but I want great characterization. I want them to feel like the actual characters. Like, hit me up, anybody.
Okay.
Yeah. So like kind of with like the dark humor kind of, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
the
that
vibe
style.
of the show. Totally.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
love
Because I
that
mean,
show.
I can't believe
So
it's
good.
ending, by the way, but I mean, I'm on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tribe about that. Yeah, because I read a lot of romantic suspense, and so I'm like, well, yeah, there is something where like someone's accusing, but it ends up, dare I say, being in terms of the darkness, light and vanilla, even though it's like kind of involves serial killers, even though none of the main characters are
serial killer adjacent.
Yeah, no, they're not serial killing. They're doing the opposite, if anything. So yeah. Well, I want to thank you guys so much for being guests today. I was like, how am I going to get 3 people at once? But like, I appreciate you guys making the schedule.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank
this
you.
is really
It was a
fun.
blast.
Too Stupid to Live is part of the Frolic Podcast Network. For more podcasts you'll love, visit frolic.media/podcasts. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great rest of your day.